I have visited Austria twice so far. Both of them were quite pleasant experiences. The difference between my country and Austria can be touched, felt, seen, smelled, understood, heard, etc. Let's get started then. I woke up very early, not realizing I hate getting up so early. Still sleepy, but here we go. Austria, or Österreich in German, officially the Republic of Austria, is a landlocked country of roughly 8.47 million people in Central Europe. It is bordered by the Czech Republic and Germany to the north, Hungary and Slovakia to the east, Slovenia and Italy to the south, and Switzerland and Liechtenstein to the west. The territory of Austria covers 83,855 square kilometers and has a temperate and alpine climate. Austria's terrain is highly mountainous due to the presence of the Alps. Only 32% of the country is below 500 meters, and its highest point is 3,798 meters. The majority of the population speak local Austro-Bavarian dialects of German as their native language, and German in its standard form is the country's official language. Other local official languages are Burgenland, Croatian, Hungarian, and Slovene. In Fertőrákos, Hungary, you can take a boat tour on the Fertőtó into Austria and back. There is a little difference between sailboat ports. You'll see. The origins of modern-day Austria date back to the time of the Habsburg dynasty, when the vast majority of the country was a part of the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. In 1938, Anschluss, Austria was occupied and annexed by Nazi Germany. After Germany was occupied by the Allies, Austria's former democratic constitution was restored. In 1955, the Austrian Strait Treaty re-established Austria as a sovereign state, ending the occupation. In the same year, the Austrian Parliament created the Declaration of Neutrality, which declared that the Second Austrian Republic would become permanently neutral. Today, Austria is a parliamentary representative democracy comprising 9 federal states. The capital and largest city, with a population exceeding 1.7 million, is Vienna. Austria is one of the richest countries in the world, with a nominal per capita GDP of $49,809. The country has developed a high standard of living, and in 2011 was ranked 19th in the world for its Human Development Index. Austria has been a member of the United Nations since 1955, joined the European Union in 1995. Austria also signed the Schengen Agreement in 1995 and adopted the European currency, the euro, in 1999. Lake Neusiedl, in German Neusiedlersee, or Fertő, in Hungarian Fertőtó. And I would not like to butcher these 2 languages by trying to pronounce them. It is the second largest steppe lake in Central Europe, straddling the Austrian-Hungarian border. The lake covers 315 square kilometers, of which 240 square kilometers is on the Austrian side and 75 square kilometers is on the Hungarian side. The lake's drainage basin has an area of about 1,120 square kilometers. From north to south, the lake is about 36 kilometers long and it is between 6 kilometers and 12 kilometers wide from east to west. On average, the lake's surface is 115 meters above the Adriatic Sea, and the lake is no more than 1.8 meters deep. Most of the lake is surrounded by reeds which serve as a habitat for wildlife, making the lake an important resting place for migratory birds, and are harvested in winter as soon as the ice is solid enough. Low water levels pose a problem for sailing and commercial shipping, as boats hit the ground more frequently and mooring sites can become temporarily unusable. However, it somewhat facilitates the annual freestyle mass crossing of the lake from Mörbisch to Ilmitz. Anybody who can swim and is more than 160 centimeters in height can participate in this sportive event, which was revived in 2004. On the Austrian side, there is Rust, where we are going very soon. Oh, that was a lot of information. Let's take a break and talk about some personal experience. Why is the lake divided? I understand that there was the Cold War, and before that there was the Second World War, and they had to draw the borders. But to me it seems very stupid to draw a border where you leave 1/4 of a lake to a country and the other 3/4 to another country. But that's what happened. After the Second World War, countries have been divided. They've been divided since then. It's not that big of a deal when it comes to a lake. It's a much bigger deal when it comes to counties, for example, because some counties which belonged to Hungary before the war got to the Austrian side of the border, and I guess that was a bigger deal, I believe, because of relatives. They got divided too, and that just wasn't nice. But of course, who am I to judge? More than 60 years have passed, everything is settled now. But still, that lake thing bugs me all the time when I think of it. I studied history, like everybody else, in high school and before that in elementary school. And the thing is that we learned that most borders are drawn naturally. So when it comes to a lake which can be defended somehow, I don't know the exact process, did you draw the border by the shore instead of just splitting it in the middle? And I don't even know how they were able to patrol the borders or do things, because it's not like dry land. You can't step there and saying that yes, this is now Austria, and if you make one more step we will shoot you because you're not allowed to go to Austria. And what if you drift? There is also another method to take a look at restaurants. both on the Austrian and Hungarian side, but the truth is that restaurants in general look nicer, and there are restaurants with higher price range and lower price range. You might not be able to find a restaurant in a very low price range in Austria because no one would go there, for they have the money, but in the Hungarian side you could find very, very bad restaurants. But I tried to find a good one, a sort of cake shop, and it was very clean. The prices were a bit higher than the Hungarian standards, and of course maybe because of that I couldn't see any Hungarian people, so I felt pretty lonely, alone, just eating my cake and drinking my coffee with a bunch of German people. And when I said hello to the waitress, I generally say hello to people who look young, and of course it's very stupid because it's absolutely international. A German person would also say hello, I think. So I said hello, and the waitress told me just Guten Tag, and then I got confused because I always get confused with languages. I wasn't really sure that she's Hungarian, but she is, so I mean she was, as it turned out, so no problem that area. So what's the big difference? You know, I don't think you could see the difference between Austria and Hungary during the boat ride. So are they richer? I don't think that you could judge the richness of Austrian people by the boat ride, but if you take a look at two different ports, one on the Hungarian side and one on the Austrian side, you get to see a very different picture. In the Hungarian side there are only a couple of boats just floating around, and on the other side, the Austrian side, they have hundreds or maybe thousands, a thousand of boats, and they are, I mean, judging by their looks, they could cost about 5,000 euros, which is an incredibly high price. If I was to try to save for it, working in Hungary, save money from my minimum wage, or maybe a little bit more than a minimum wage. So, but that really doesn't show the richness, because only rich people have boats, or slightly richer than the normal people, so to speak. So again, you could only see the true difference if you get into your car, because then you could take a look at the houses, you could take a look at cities and their lifestyles and prices in supermarkets, and using boats as examples is not that very clever, at least from a scientific viewpoint, I think.
Te édes vagy.
Now I understand that there are many ways to look at a problem and many angles, and the scientific method says that whatever angle you should choose to use must be the most objective of all. So I can't use rich restaurants, I can't use boats, because that is very stupid, because in many countries there are rich people, and only the rich people have the boats and go to expensive places. So I think the most common place what we can, or I can use in this case to describe a country or to try to measure the quality of that whole country is perhaps the roads, because everywhere you must use roads to get to places, and in Hungary traditionally people, corporations or the government who orders a company to make a road for it, they choose the worst material possible, but not on the other side, the Austrian side. I guess they use better material because no potholes and nothing at all. The roads are very, very smooth and straight. So in the Hungarian side, if I take a look at the general road, you've got to see the tracks where cars and trucks go, because they sank in a little bit already, even after half a year. But on the Austrian side, even the small, less maintained roads are very, very good. I think this might be one of the reasons why in Hungary the speed limit in a non-rural area is just 90 kilometers per hour, but in Austria it's 100 kilometers per hour. And it's true, I tried to go 100 kilometers per hour and it was a very smooth ride. In Hungary I usually go 70 or 80, maybe 90 if it's a very high maintained road, because it's some sort of main road. But in Austria, to me, wherever I went, the roads were fantastic, and that makes me say either they maintain the roads pretty well. I haven't seen any maintenance machines beside the road, so I don't know. Or they just choose the more expensive material so it would last longer. We are going to Vienna today. Vienna is situated at the Danube River and is the largest city and the capital of Austria. Not only that, Vienna is also a federal province of Austria. It has the third highest quality of living in the European Union. People from Vienna are called Viennese. The major religion of people is Christianity. The major language spoken in Vienna is German. Surprisingly, the voting age in Austria is only 16. Vienna is the only Austrian city-state in Austria, which is a federal republic. Vienna is divided into 23 districts. The city center in Vienna is a World Heritage Site. Vienna is known worldwide as the city of music and is home to great music halls with excellent acoustics. Vienna is the last great capital of the 19th century ball. The Museum Quartier, which is one of the largest cultural complexes in the world, is present in Vienna. World-famous classical composers including Mozart, Beethoven, Strauss, Schubert and Brahms have all lived and performed in Vienna. Vienna is home to the setting of Graham Greene's novel, The Third Man, that is an actual city casting melancholy and telling the story of the Cold War. Vienna is considered as a city of cultural heritage. It's been home to various great minds, such as Gustav Klimt, Sigmund Freud, Arthur Schnitzler. Tiergarten Schönbrunn, which is the world's oldest zoological garden, was founded in 1752, is here in Vienna. The largest emerald of the world, which is of a whopping 2,860 carat, is displayed in the Imperial Treasury in Vienna. One of its only kind and one of the oldest giant wheels is there in Vienna, which is probably one of the most familiar attractions. It is situated in a large wooded amusement park called as Prater. It has 15 gondolas, which offers a scenic view of Vienna. Europe's second largest cemetery is in Vienna, called Zentralfriedhof, has a total size of 2.5 square kilometers. Zentralfriedhof also has over 2.5 million tombs, which is almost double than the city's live population. It also has tombs of some of the most famous personalities of the world, such as Beethoven, Brahms, Gluck, Schubert, Schönberg, and Strauss. I don't think that there is much difference between Vienna and Budapest. I see the same buildings, the architecture is not that different, and of course I think I have to mention that to me different Cairo and Budapest is a difference between cities, but I don't think that I have seen different buildings in Austria. Just the style is very similar. So I think that other than the prices in the shop windows, which are in euros and not forints, there is not much difference between the two cities. I don't know about the size because I didn't spend that much time, so I couldn't figure it out. I know that they use more underground tunnels, and I think Vienna is just a tiny bit bigger, or I am not sure at all, so I rather say nothing. I don't see that the richness judging by the buildings, so it must be something else other than the roads, of course. Now, I think that a transportation system, it could be a valid viewpoint to judge countries and cities. I know that the Budapest Transportation Company is in big trouble. It has been it has been for years, and I don't think it will change in 2013 or 14. Well, so I don't know how good shape the Vietnam transportation system is in, but judging by that one day I got to ride the metro, I would say that it's in better shape. Maybe they are losing money similar to our company in Budapest, but I don't know. It's cleaner, it seems very efficient. The stations are quite nice, are not that much nicer than the Hungarian ones, but the Hungarian ones are pretty dirty, And so I have to imagine the Hungarian stations in their clean state, which is pretty hard because I have to go back years and years when I was little and they were just a tiny bit cleaner. And I would say that we have nice metro stations. They are less clean. So, I mean, cleaning is a big issue in Hungary right now. And from the 15 billion or 20 billion budget, 6 billion goes to the cleaning, and it seems that they achieve nothing. You know that the prices in Austria are just a tiny bit cheaper than in Hungary, and for some reason it just pisses the hell out of me. And I think if I go deep down enough into my twisted psyche, I could find some sort of an answer. If I think about how much I have to calculate, and when I talk to my friends, they tell me how much they calculate every day, every month, every year. It seems that whoever I talk to in the Western world, they don't count their money every day, they don't calculate all year long to be able to save for a holiday. It seems that it's the way they live, it's much more carefree, it's much more fluent. My mother told me this very sad joke that maybe the products in Hungary are more expensive because they have to transport it further than Austria. And I know it's not, I didn't really laugh at that joke, but I think it has a valid point. I mean, why else, if not the transportation fee, why else would they be more expensive here? And of course, let's just make it very simple. The answer is just too simple. It's the taxes, I think. If you want to employ somebody in Hungary, if you want to create a product, you have to, the tax is so high on the product that you have to make it just a little bit more expensive than the Austrian pair. So you can see it's not the end of the world. It's not that we have 200% tax on sales and on products. It's just a little bit more expensive, and that's very annoying to a Hungarian. I have to tell you, it's very, very annoying because our salaries are very low and their products in Austria are cheaper, and this is just crazy. And I think I have to finish this. In order to and in order to stay objective, I think we have to stop now. There is a train you could take to go up to the highest mountain in Lower Austria, and it's a very funny looking train. The ticket price is about 34 euros, which is about 10,000 forints, and that is a high price, but it's a cogwheel train, so it takes a lot of energy to just climb that mountain, and I would certainly not want to climb it on foot. So it's natural that I took the train. And up in the mountain, it's just absolutely beautiful and astonishing. We have, in Hungary, our biggest mountain is called ckg, and it's just about 1,000 meters tall, and here this is close to 2,000, and you could feel that almost 1,000-meter difference. ckg now, it seems like it's just a hill basically, and really, really nice up there. There was fog, and when we went up to the mountain it was clear, of course, because it was too high for the fog. A king of the Viennese Alps rises high above the surrounding countryside, confirming its status as the highest mountain in Lower Austria at 2,075 meters. The Schneebergbahn railway transports you from the climatic spa resort of Buchberg up into this mountain paradise. Expect untouched nature, marked hiking trails, and incredible views. The Salamander train takes you 10 kilometers closer to heaven into the high alpine region of the Schneeberg. Lush meadows, the scent of coniferous forests, and the magnificent panorama of the beautiful mountain scenery pass you by as the Salamander makes its way up the mountain at a leisurely pace. When you finally alight at Austria's highest railway station at 1,800 meters above sea level, you will be impressed by the performance of this little train. The Salamander trains have overcome an altitude of 1,218 meters on a journey of 9.8 kilometers.
Rechts sehen Sie die Kaiserin Elisabeth Gedächtniskirche. Links
I think the best way to measure a country is to answer the question, would you live there? And of course, I think I would my answer would be yes, even to Egypt, but I have to be realistic, and compared to Hungary, compared to Egypt or any third world country, I would definitely live in Austria, and by that I mean I would definitely want to be born in Austria and just live a life in that country, because it would be a bit easier, and you can't know this, I think, if you come from a richer country, richer than Austria, richer than Hungary. You only know this if you come from a poorer country, because then you get to see the little things that you don't have to worry about when you live. You have many other things to worry about, of course, but if you have to worry about even the smallest thing, and if we go east enough or south enough to Africa or Asia, I think that when your biggest problem during the day is where to get food, where to get drinks, or in Hungary your biggest problem is if I can buy that bit more expensive product of food or not, or just stay with the cheap ones. You learn to appreciate a certain way of life where you imagine you don't have to worry about these things. So in Austria, for example, you can get a nice car. If you have a job, you can get to go places for holiday, and you might get to buy a very good house or just a very small house. It doesn't matter. And I heard English people talking about how hard it is for them to buy houses and all these things, but I don't think they understand that even though property prices are lower in Hungary, the possibility for any young person to be able to afford a house on their own is very, very low. It's way lower than in the UK, because in order to be able to afford a house, you must have a well-paying job. But in Hungary, it's a big issue. Even the well-paying jobs are only worth of 600 or 800 euros, and in Austria the minimum wage, like I mentioned, it's 1,000 euros. In my subjective view, if you're born in Austria, you could live a bit more, at least a bit more happier and more carefree life than if you're born in Hungary. Most people enjoy going on a journey as I do. We are explorers by nature. We want to see new places. I would go all day and night if I could, but I would always return home so that I would know I was away. Please allow me to finish my work with some nice lines by Dr. Seuss. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go, though the hackon cracks howl. Onward many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far, and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left.
Köszönti Önöket a Szalomán Intézetén, és kellemes utazást!